Hi, it's Steph. Thanks for clicking. This is my 8th update for Pan Interrupted. This is the supernatural themed Project Pan created by Jessica and Amanda. It was started in 2018, but I only started last year. I am still on season 1. As far as I know, nobody has ever finished this project, and that is because what you do is you take each episode of the show, Supernatural, and you somehow pair a beauty item to go with it. Once you meet your goal, you move to the next episode in line, and there are over 300 episodes. So it is a lot of panning. It takes a very long time. I think Jessica is still on season 6, and that is after several years of working on this project. So I have a very long way to go. For the last 2 months, I have had 0 rollouts, so I was going absolutely nowhere. I do have rollouts this time, so I do have progress to report, and I will finally be rolling in a few new episodes and get me just a little bit closer to the series finale. The episode that has been in here the longest is season 1, episode 8, and that one is called Bugs. Dean and Sam arrive in a town checking up on a report of a mysterious death and stop at a realtor's open house barbecue. Sam then meets the realtor's son Matt, who is fascinated with bugs. Soon the town is invaded by swarms of deadly bugs, and it looks like there may be no way out. For this episode, I decided to pick my Laura Geller The Social Butterfly palette because butterflies are bugs. I had a goal of using this palette 15 times for the 15 seasons that the show ran. At the last update, I had 13 of those uses, and I got the last 2. So I have now used this palette 15 times, and it is rolling out. It's an okay palette. It is decent for traveling. It gives you a nice neutral look. There's nothing to write home about in here, but it works just fine. I think if you have a deeper skin tone, then that blush won't show up on you at all. So I think this is more of a spring palette for me. I did like the tones better on me when I was at my fairest. So this is now out of the project, and I'll pull it out again maybe next spring. Episode 9 is called Home. When Sam has nightmares of their old home, the brothers return to Lawrence, Kansas to investigate. They discover that a new family has moved into the Winchester's home, and the woman is the one that Sam has been dreaming about. For this, I picked something that was kind of connected to my first home. From the time I was about 1 year old to maybe 13, I lived in a particular house. In the backyard of that house was a swing set that my dad built for me and my brothers when I was 5. My youngest sibling actually was not yet born. That swing set is still there, and if the swing set is still there, then that means that the cement footing that my dad poured in order to keep it in place is also still present, most likely, and my handprint is in one of those footings. So since my handprint is haunting that backyard, I picked the Ahava Superfood Kale and Turmeric Smoothing Hand Cream, and this is now gone. This lived on my bedside table. At the last update, I was at that last line there, and it is now completely finished. I cut it open, and there is nothing left. It was an okay hand cream. I think this is overpriced personally, but if I got one again somehow, I wouldn't object and I would still use it. I had already met my goal on episode 10, so now we're at episode 11. It's called Scarecrow. Sam and Dean contact their father, who tells them to stop searching for him and sends them to a small town in Indiana where people are being sacrificed to a pagan god. This pagan god appears as a scarecrow and is located in an apple orchard. So I picked this Ulta Beauty Apple Lip Balm Stain. It both is the shade apple and it smells like apple. I have a goal of using this 15 times. At the last update I had 9 uses, and I used it one more time for a total of 10. So not very impressive with this product. It's more of a fall product for me. I will get more use out of it, I am sure, but it's still going to hang out for another 5 uses. Next is episode 12. That one is called Faith. When Dean is accidentally electrocuted fighting a monster, he permanently damages his heart. When he's diagnosed as only having a month at most to live, Sam searches for means to save him and finds Roy LaGrange, a faith healer who may actually be the real deal. This is another episode where the project was really only loosely connected. There is actually a Reaper in this episode that is being controlled, and once you have figured out that there is a Reaper involved, I knew the soundtrack of the show well enough to expect a certain song to appear. And sure enough, Don't Fear the Reaper by the Blue Oyster Cult appeared near the end of the episode. And so for the Blue Oyster Cult, I brought in my Lilo & Stitch Ohana palette. This is the shade Blue Hawaii, and I was using that 15 times for the Blue Oyster Cult. And at the last update, I had 13 uses. I got the other 2, so that brings me to 15, so this is another goal met. It's a nice, deep, matte blue. It blends pretty well. I mostly use it to deepen up, sometimes as a liner. and I'll keep using it. It's here and it's perfectly fine still, and this is now rolling out. Episode 13 is Route 666. Dean's first love asks him to come to Mississippi to investigate a string of racially motivated murders. It turned out that there was a racist ghost who was very attached to his truck in life, so in death he is appearing as a ghost truck and running down black people. I am also very attached to my car, though I have never run anyone over with it other than an opossum on one occasion, but that was the opossum's fault. Since my car is a convertible, I have to wear sunscreen when I'm spending a lot of time with her, so I brought in this Ulta Beauty Sunscreen Continuous Mist in SPF 30. I've used this a few more times, most recently being this morning. It's still not gone. It is an aerosol can, so I don't know how to tell how much is left in here. It is feeling kind of light, but there is still product in here. I just checked a few hours ago, so this is still in here. I hate this sunscreen. It does work, so it doesn't make sense to throw it away, but it smells like rubbing alcohol, and I just don't really like aerosol sunscreens to begin with, so this is still here until it's gone. The last one I was working on was episode 14, and that one is called Nightmare. Sam's precognitive dream leads the brothers to investigate a mysterious death which seems to connect to a boy in possession of the power of telekinesis. Since Sam is having these precognitive dreams in the form of nightmares, I decided to pick an item that I might conceivably be wearing during a nightmare because I put it on before bed. This is a promotional potted lip balm. I like to keep the potted ones on my bedside table so that way when I use them I know my hands are clean. I don't really carry these around with me. I am trying to finish it. I don't know how well you can see in there, but I've made progress. I still have not hit the bottom. I think that the dip extends to about down there, and I don't really know how deep this goes. But we're gonna find out because it's in here to finish. So I have gained some more ground by meeting 3 goals. I met goal on bugs, home, and faith, and so I will now be rolling in the next 3 episodes. The next episode would be season 1, episode 15, The Benders. Dean and Sam learn that the kidnappers they seek are not supernatural, but humans using their captives as human prey for a twisted hunting expedition. As a side note, I didn't realize until I Googled this episode a little bit trying to figure out what I wanted to bring in for this project that the Benders were actually a real family. They were not so much hunting for food in real life, but they were in fact hunting for sport, which is also extremely twisted, but evidently they were real. Since the hillbilly redneck murderous family is hunting for food in this case, I decided to bring in a food related item for me. This is the Maybelline Shiny-licious lip gloss in the shade Berry Bella. You might recognize this from Throwback 30, and this is going to stay in this project until it is gone. So I don't have a whole lot left in there. It's probably going to stick around for a little bit, but it is not going anywhere until it's finished. Episode 16 is called Shadow. When the brothers pursue Meg, a woman responsible for a mysterious murder, she unleashes shadow spirits on them and sets a trap for their father. That was a tongue twister. Can you say she unleashes shadow spirits 5 times fast? Because I absolutely cannot. Since the monsters of this episode are shadows under control of Meg and the episode is called Shadow, I'm going to bring in an eyeshadow. I know, my creativity knows no bounds. We're going to go back in my Lilo & Stitch Ohana palette. This is a shade called Bungalow, and I'm going to use that 15 times for Shadow. The last episode that's going to be rolling in is episode number 17, and that one is called Hell House. Sam and Dean investigate the case of a maniacal ghost inhabiting a long-abandoned Texas farmhouse known as Hell House. They believe the ghost is the spirit of a deceased Depression-era farmer who killed his family, but they soon realize it is something far more powerful. What was really going on, as is revealed at the very end of the episode, is that there was some graffiti done inside the house because 2 teenagers were trying to invent their own urban legend. So they tagged the house and they were trying to make it look really spooky and creepy so that they could spread these rumors about it being haunted. They were actually unaware at the time that one of the symbols they graffitied on the wall was in fact a real spell. It was a Hindu spell that allowed things to come true. So whenever a new rumor would develop about this house, it became true. So whenever they started spreading rumors about it being haunted by a farmer, there was now a ghost farmer. But as the story became more popular and people started adding to it to a point where it didn't really make any sense, all aspects of that urban legend were still somehow true because of this spell. So for the magic of how this spell worked to make the house haunted, I am going to be bringing in the Belief the True Cream Aqua Bomb. Belief in the haunting made it real, and that was the truth of it. So I'm going to be finishing this sample for Hell House. So there's my update, and this was a pretty good one with 3 rollouts and 3 roll-ins. We'll see how many I can get for next time. I'm really hoping to finish off that sunscreen, but I have no idea how much is really left in there. Wish me luck, good luck with your projects, and I will see you next month. Bye.